SAP landscape transformation. That is one tool. Second tool is basically your bots, business object data services. Third tool is your DXC, data extractor connection. And fourth tool is your Sybase event processor, which very rare, I mean almost nil customer, they are not using it. And then fifth is your flat file based loading. So what I want to do today is that I want to start the data provisioning, and after that we'll start the demo. So let me start it. Okay, so in terms of data provisioning, we are going to discuss these topics basically: how positioning, how exactly we are positioning the data provisioning tool, architecture-wise, how exactly it looks like, what are the options we have for data provisioning. So all those topics we are going to discuss on that. Now, when we talk about the data provisioning tool, so basically we have SAP LT replication server, which is also called SAP landscape transformation, and this is known as SLT server. So when we have a requirement related to real-time replication of the data, that time we leverage this SLT functionality. So when I say real time, means whatever changes happened, it should immediately get replicated to HANA DB. So that is called your real time replication of the data. That is one. Second thing is, it is more suitable in case of replicating the data from the ECC or your MySAP ERP core product of SAP. From there, you migrate all the tables and replicate the. You basically replicate the table data to a HANA DB. So that is for SLT. Bots can serve the purpose for batch as well as for the real-time data, but quite often we use it for batch-related activity, and it can be used for the SAP as well as non-SAP data sources, and it's an ETL tool from SAP. So if somebody is asking you what is an ETL tool from SAP, then you should say that it is SAP Business Object Data Services. It is just like you might have heard the tool called Data Stage, right? So Data Stage is another tool, ETL tool from IBM side. So many customers are using, at least in US geography also, many customers are using that ETL tool. So same way, like from SAP, we have SAP Business Object Data Services as a tool. So that is there. Then HANA Data Extractor Connection, so DXC. So HANA Data Extractor Connection is also more suitable for your batch mode, and basically we can replicate the data from the SAP and non-SAP data sources. So it is another way of replicating the data. Then you have other data provisioning option. Basically, Sybase event processor will be available for replicating real-time event stream from Sybase into HANA DB. So these are 4 or 5 options. Another option is called the flat file. So I'll show you in the demo how exactly we load it in the flat file. Now, this slide you might have.
Rajesh,
yeah.
Just a quick one. Before we proceed to the demo, what is the source system which we'll be focusing on? Like there is a lot of SCM and PPM, and you know what I'm saying, FICO. So what is the system? What is the source which we will be focusing for?
Oh, okay. So see, when we talk about ECC or MySAP ERP core product, there are different modules. You have FI, COMM, PP, SD. So it all depends on your requirement, what kind of requirement you are having. So suppose if I am doing any kind of sidecar approach, right? I'll talk about sidecar approach. In fact, I might have told you in the last class. So when I am doing a sidecar approach, meaning you are establishing HANA as a secondary database and you are not disturbing the existing setup of ECC on the traditional database. So in such cases, you might be having a requirement related to finance or controlling or purchasing. So in such cases, you will be transferring or replicating the data related to table related to finance, purchasing or controlling. So if you ask me what are the modules which we are going to touch upon, it is not a fixed approach, but normally FI, CO and MM area is the area where we hit more. So in terms of data provisioning, extraction of the data, in terms of extracting the data, we'll be using more FI, CO and MM related tables.
So what is MM?
Materials management or the purchasing area. Okay. And finance is your finance, FI is your finance, controlling is your CO, and there is a PP, production planning. You have a PM, plant maintenance. You have SD, sales and distribution, basically marketing. You have PS, which is project system. You have IM, which is investment management. So like that, you have multiple modules within SAP. HR is already known to you, so that is there. So there are different modules within ECC or the SAP ERP. So quite often we will use finance and purchasing because there the applicability is more. So now if you see this diagram, so here you have a different data sources. So this is one of the data sources. So this is having SAP Business Suite, right? When I say SAP Business Suite, it mainly refers here to the ECC area. Then you have a BW, and then you have a non-SAP data sources and trading and other management systems. Now what we do for this SAP Business Suite, which is mainly for your ECC and ERP, you are leveraging SLT to transfer the data to the HANA DB. So we are leveraging this component, SAP LT replication server. Now for BW, what we are doing is we are mainly leveraging the boards. So this is your boards area, business object data services area. And you can see here it is a DB connection. Between boards and HANA, you have a ODBC connection. Between Sybase replication server and HANA, you have a ECDA and ODBC connection. Between HANA direct extractor connection and HANA, you have a HTTPS connection. Between Sybase event stream processor, you have a ODBC connection. And HANA, you have a ODBC connection. So these are the connections. So for BW, we will be using the boards, which is business object data services, and transferring the data using the ODBC communication link. We will be sending it to the HANA DB. Same is the case for non-SAP data sources. So you have a data extractor connection. What it does is it has a batch job, and it takes the data from ECC, and then it loads the data via the ETL tool or via the DXC connection. It will load the data into the HANA DB. Then you have a trading and other order management system. So that is basically related to Sybase event processor. So what it does is it takes the event streams and convert it, and then ultimately it is posting it to the HANA. So these are some of the ways and means, and flat file also you can use. I will show you how exactly. So now when we talk about,
can you copy the previous slide? There you mentioned like Sybase replication server, right? So which tool we will be using there to transfer the data from BW to HANA?
BW to HANA you may use boards, but ECC to HANA most often you will be using SLT.
SLT. Sybase replication server means like it's
No,
not
no.
SLT.
A Sybase replication server is altogether a different tool. SLT, SAP landscape transformation is another tool. So when we are talking about ECC and real-time data access, so we will be using Sybase. We will be using SAP SLT. But if we are talking about the Sybase and event processor and all those, so in that case we will be using Sybase event processor. So like trading and order management system, so how you replicate the data and transfer the data. So that that type of scenario will involve Sybase event processor to replicate the data. So it is mainly the data flow is happening in a kind of a stream processor.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, when you go to the SAP data provisioning first option, which is your SLT. Now, this is very important slide. Important in the sense that you need to know the architecture, how exactly you are going to design it. And this one will be one of your interview question also. That people may ask you, okay, can you tell me what kind of SLT setup you had? So when he is asking this question, what kind of SLT setup you had? So basically, he is referring to a point, what kind of architectural setup you had. So here you can see there are three boxes. So one is this box, first box, basically your HANA box. So from HANA Studio, you are firing a command, okay, or firing a request. Now this request is coming to SLT server here. Now when it is coming to SLT server, then it takes the request and it takes the request and it processes it and forwards it to ECC system. So here is your ECC system. Now one more important aspect is, two more important aspects are like, one is how do we make a connectivity between HANA and SLT. Second is how do we make a connectivity between SLT and ECC. So as you can see on the slide, between HANA and SLT, you have a DB connection. So that is important. And between SLT and ECC, you have RFC connection. Now, why RFC connection and why DB connection? First of all, when we install SLT, just keep this fact in the mind that SLT is another ABAP stack product. Okay. Now, one day I was talking about the NetWeaver, right? In NetWeaver, the fourth layer is called the application platform, which is nothing but your ABAP stack plus the Java stack. So when we are talking about the ABAP stack, so if you take SAP products, it is basically categorized into ABAP products as well as the Java products. So if you take an example of ECC, right, which is your core ERP, it is pure ABAP based product. If you take an example of say BW, so BW could be on your dual stack or could be on your single Java stack, because the future releases are coming up in single Java stack. But currently we are using dual stack also, meaning that ABAP plus Java. So if you take PI, which is a middleware of SAP, so if you take that, so currently it is on dual stack also, but later on in future it will be supporting single stack only. So it is a dual stack product, ABAP plus Java, both component is there. If you take enterprise portal in NetWeaver, so that is pure Java based product. So this way SAP has categorized the different stack for each of the products. So suppose I am using ECC. So ECC will have the ABAP platform and all your screen is basically visible and created in the ABAP screen, ABAP language only, right? So that is one of the key aspects that when you go for the SLT server setup, make sure that you have the existing system is basically supporting the ABAP stack. So what do I mean by existing system? So suppose if I am going to install the SLT server, so first question is where do we install the SLT server? So first question is Are we going to have a separate SLT server, or are we going to have the same SLT and ECC on the same box? That is the first question. To answer your question, as per SAP's best practice, we should have a separate server for SLT as per SAP's norms and best practices. If you have a hardware constraint and all due to budget issues and all, so what you can do, you can also install you can also install you can also install your SLT on ECC products. So what you have to do is you have to activate the ABAP add-on. That component is called DMIS add-on. Now, if you see my screen in the blue box, let me expand this. Yeah, here. In the blue box, what you are seeing is SAP application server does not have to be a separate system, which is true. And I just now have mentioned that either you can have a separate server or you can just install it directly on the ECC box also. So you need to determine whether there is any hardware constraint or not, is there any procurement issues or not. So that you need to check, and based on that decision has to be taken. So what I'm trying to communicate through this slide is that SAP LT replication server does not have to be a separate server and can run on any SAP system with SAP NetWeaver ABAP stack 7.02 or higher with SAP kernel 7.20. So whatever SAP product you are going to use, just keep it in mind that you need to have either you can have a separate server for SLT, or you can have the SLT set up on the same ECC box. That is up to you, basically based on the hardware determination and all. And also you need the a certain level of ABAP stack kernel and ABAP stack version like 7.02. So you need to have the SAP NetWeaver ABAP component equal to or more than 7.02, which you are seeing right now. So that is one. Second is between SLT here, which is your second box. Yeah. So here, this is your SLT box. Now between SLT and this is your ECC box. What is RFC connection? RFC connection, whenever you have SAP to SAP communication, you create a kind of RFC connection between those two systems. So who does that one? So basically, basis guy does all the setup for you. You don't have to worry much on that one. So this is on the SLT. Like you have 3 boxes, or you can have 2 boxes. But front end, which is HANA Studio, it fires a request. And once it comes to SLT server, if it is a separate server, you can always process the data in a flexible way. And as per SAP's norm also, it is an ideal situation to have a SLT on a separate server. And the third option, the third part is that you need to post all the data into ECC and retrieve the data from there and finally display it on the HANA Studio. So there are 3 boxes, and the DB connection between HANA and SLT, and the RFC connection between SLT and ECC.
So the SAP, when I have the SAP LT application server installed, and
Right.
do I need a database with that, like SQL Server or Oracle with that?
So your question is you need to install it on the Oracle or
No. See, the source data is this application table like any SAP system. So
Right.
when I pull the data using SAP LT replication server, the
Right.
data comes from the source system, and does it sits in SAP LT replication server, or is just transferred? It acts as a tunnel.
Yeah, correct.
So So in that case, why do we establish a DB connection, database connection from SAP HANA system to SLT?
So, the point here is that the point here is that HANA is not a pure ABAP stack product. Okay. Now, HANA is your in-memory database.
Yeah.
Now, from the database to your SAP server, which is your SAP LT server or SLT server, you need to have a DB connection, because you cannot have the RFC connection between HANA and SLT. If it is pure ABAP stack product, the HANA, you can definitely create an RFC connection, and you can complete your scenario quickly. But if you don't have a product which is of ABAP stack, then in that case, since it is a database system, in-memory database system, so ideally you have the in-memory database connectivity parameter to connect with the ECC and SLT and HANA Studio. So, DB connection is between HANA Studio and SLT, and RFC connection between the SLT and ECC.
Okay.
And also to put one more point, if you see SLT and ECC connection, that is already there as a RFC. Why? Because both system understands the ABAP stack, and they can connect to each other using RFC connection.
Okay.
Okay. So between
just add on to this same question, there is an arrow between HANA Studio and the replication engine, right? So once we transfer the data from SAP source system to SAP HANA system using this LT replication server, so why again HANA Studio directly can connect with the application table, right, which is already there in the HANA in memory. So why again back to replication server?
Why there is an arrow for back to replication server? That is what your question is.
Right, because all the data already we pulled and put in the SAP HANA, it's in memory, right?
Right.
So why do we go back to this engine?
Okay, let me understand your question. So you are saying that you are filing a request from HANA Studio, and you are processing the request at SLT, and then that SLT request is being forwarded to ECC. So ECC retrieves the data and brings it back to the SLT server. So brings it back to the SLT server. From there, you have the DB connection to post the data on the HANA server, right? This is what your understanding is, right?
No, Rajesh. So from HANA is in-memory technology, in-memory thing, right?
Correct.
Where
correct.
the data from source system and loading into the memory.
Correct.
Means all my data, like 2 years data or 3 years data, based on my requirement, I'll put in the in-memory, which is nothing but the application table, right?
Right.
So then HANA Studio has to interact with application table, right?
HANA has to interact with the application table. Then basically, yes. So basically, table replication will happen. Correct. Your point is correct. So yes. So what is your next question?
My question is why HANA Studio is interacting with SAP LT replication server again.
Oh, okay. Got it. So the reason here is that SAP HANA Studio here works as a client application. So when I say client, you have a browser kind of activity, or wizard is open. You just fire a command, and when you fire a command, you need to make a connectivity in the form of DB connectivity between your SAP server and between your SLT. So basically, your HANA Studio works as a client application, and then you have a mid layer, which is your SLT server, which takes the request, processes it, and finally forwards it to the basically it forwards the request from SLT to ECC. So whatever is and once the retrieval is done or read module is triggered, once it is done, then whatever output is there, it will be replicated to HANA. So to answer your question, the need for HANA Studio is that it is working as a client application. So whatever data you want to retrieve, you can also retrieve, considering that you have a admin kind of access to access the data.
Okay. Okay, Raj.
Okay. Now this is talking more about the internal architecture and the component. So here, if you see this one, so basically this is talking about the HANA Studio. It is a client application. Client application is firing a request. So now let us take an example. You are using any web application, right? When you are using a web application, basically after entering the details, you put a fire command. So suppose I have a web application, and after entering the details in the web application, I am firing the command. So ultimately, when you fire a command, where it goes, that data will go to either middleware or some other tool. So what it does, it takes the input data and it has the output data. So that that mapping is happening at the SLT layer, basically source and target, and finally the output is displayed on the HANA, is stored in the HANA Studio. So here the catch here is that finally that HANA Studio is basically firing a request, and then it is going to this place. It is doing a request processing, forwarding it to ECC. Once it goes to ECC, so it has a read module, and then it also has a write module to revert back with the data response, and then it is forwarded from SLT server to the HANA Studio. So I'll show you in the form of demo what exactly, because I understand architecture wise you will understand, but when you see it in the system, then you will come to know how exactly it is happening. So I'll show you that one. Now this is talking about the DS part, which is your data services. So here you can see you can have all the business suite, BW, non-SAP system, mainly the structured data and other things can be stored here. Okay, and mainly we are using it for the batch job purpose. So when we are trying to access the data and extract the data from the source system, we tend to go for the batch mode rather than the online mode. For real-time activity, SLT is the best way to replicate the data on a real-time mode, so that access of the data can be done quickly on your BI report. So that is one. And then here you can see that you have a data and metadata connectivity to all the major enterprise data sources, native fast connectivity for application. You also have a built-in transformation for data quality, support for non-relational data formats including text and XML. So all these features are there, and this is basically you have a data source here. This is your data source, and this is your ETL tool, and it is sending the data and finally creating the output and getting it loaded into HANA-DB. Okay. Now, when we talk about this boards, so basically boards is nothing but it's a kind of Eclipse-based Eclipse type editor. So it has basically you have seen HANA Studio, right? How exactly the look and feel of Eclipse Studio or HANA Studio is there. So same way for boards also it is like the same thing. Basically there are three easiest steps to configure it. First is set up the connection to source and target, select the required table from source, and then generate and execute the job, move all the data with a one mouse click. So that is the way in which we are basically covering the data replication using the boards. Now third option which we have is called the DXC option. And if you see the DXC option, so here you can see that from the data source you have all the data like info objects, data store objects, info queues. Everything is basically from the BW, it is moving towards a HANA. So in HANA you have a DSO, you have a different modeling objects also. So there via HTTP protocol we transfer the data and we get the data loaded into that HANA DB. So DXC connection is also basically a kind of useful tool, but you need to decide based on the customer's landscape. So suppose if your customer is leveraging SLT, then make SLT as a means for transferring the data, transferring the data to the HANA DB. Or basically what you do here is that if your customer is having SLT server, leverage SLT. If your customer is also having access to the board system, business object data services system, you can also leverage it. So it all depends on your licensing agreement and the kind of reporting data migration, which is data replication, which is happening to the HANA DB. So in this case also it is not much different from what we are seeing it in the boards. Now here a data extractor connection utilizes the data source extractor that exists in SAP Business Suite system originally. Those were developed for use with BW. DXC is for use in SAP HANA standalone scenario. Data mart, BW on HANA is a separate topic. Then DXC utilizes the embedded BW starting with NetWeaver. Embedded BW has been part of NetWeaver ABAP, and in a typical business suite system, the embedded BW is not utilized. Customer used to run the separate BW system. Most customers already have the support package level needed for to source the business system. DXC uses the embedded BW system to enable extraction towards SAP HANA and this, and also DXC mainly requires applying the note for this one. Now these are some of the options. What I want to do now is I want to start the demo to make the topic more interesting, because till now you have been going through the theory and all, and sometimes it might be a kind of boredom if you don't see the system and don't see how exactly it behaves. So I'm just going to system and I will show first a few things I would like to show. First step I am going to do that I am going to create a table. Okay. Once I create a table, then I am going to assign the privileges. So first I am going to create a schema. Then I am going to assign the privileges to this schema. Then I am going to create a table. Then I am going to load the data, and then so all these are part of catalog. And then last is that I am going to create a package. Under package, under content, I am going to create a package, and under package I will create one object for the attribute view. So that is one demo I am planning to do. Then boards also I am planning to use how to replicate the data from source to target. That is, source is your ECC and target is your HANA DB. That is another demo. And one, the SLT server, right now the DB connection failure is happening, but I just want to show you the configuration, and I want to show you what all things are there as a 3-layer component, so that it will be clear to you when you see the system. So just I am starting the demo, just have a look on that one. So as mentioned to you earlier, I am using one separate system, so don't get worried. I am going to create the same scenario in your actual system also, which you are going to get, so that you can practice it from there also. So let me first use that system which I have. So I am going to this one. Okay. Now what I do is, just a sec. Okay. Now first I go to this system. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch the HANA Studio. Okay. Okay, fine. Now I have launched the HANA Studio. Let me close other sessions so that you will. Yes. Now I have launched the HANA Studio. Where I am? I am in the modeler. So you can see this is modeler. If you click on modeler administration, what will happen is you have to select it and then click on the pipe to display all the items. But just wait for some time. I have clicked on modeler. Now what I do, I go to HANA DB. Okay. HANA DB I go, and then under catalog I go. First I need to select this catalog, do a right click and click on SQL console. Okay. So this is your SQL editor. Now I want to create a schema. So the first activity which I will do, once you have your system, which is HDB system and all, once you have that, then in order to create objects, first thing you need to do, you need to basically create a schema. So I go to this place and I say create a schema. What is the name I should give? Test. Okay. So this is the test primer. So test prime I have given. Now what I do? Now here, if I execute it, so here you can see the bottom. Can you see the bottom part? Yeah, here is successfully executed. Okay. So now you are seeing the bottom part here, but can you see the your schema here? No. So what you have to do, select this and do a refresh. So here you have a refresh. So here now you have test prime. So here you have your schema now. So you have created your schema, and under schema you have column views, functions. By default it will come. Okay. Now if I see tables, do we have any tables? No. No, nothing is there. Okay. So I need to create a table also. Okay. So what I will do, so this statement I have used. Now first thing is that I need to grant the schema. I need to grant a privilege to the schema. So what I will do here is I will use this. I am going to share all these details with you so that while practicing you can see all these codes. Okay. And just to make you comfortable, if you remember the discussion which we had, I said I'm going to use a very basic SQL statement. So my objective is basically to make you aware that I'm not going to use coding part more. I'm just going to configure to do more and more configuration. That is something which I'm going to do. So don't Sarthak, if you see all these SQL queries and all, don't get upset. I mean, these are very basic queries. You can see how we created a schema, create a schema, and then whatever name you want to. So it is just a small syntax. So you can have, you can read it and you can keep it on your finger points, like how exactly those SQL statements are there. So now what I do, I remove this. I just type this one. Grant select on schema. My schema is test prime. Test prime. Okay. Now this is my schema. So what I am doing, grant select on schema test prime to sys repo with grant option. This is the syntax. Now when I am giving the sys repo, why I am giving sys repo privilege? Because if I don't give this statement, and when you are creating a modeling object like attribute, analytic, and calculation view during your development, that time it will throw an error. And the error will be because you have not granted the permission to your schema. So once you grant the permission to your schema, and also what will happen is once you assign it with the sysrepo user, so ultimately when you are creating a modeling object, this schema will be visible to, accessible to those users, and they can use it, and they can also create a data set on that one. So I have given a grant this one. Now what I do, I just execute you can do F8 or you can execute. So now successfully done. Okay. Now it has been given. Now the third step which I said was I am going to create a table. Now table can be created in multiple ways. How? One is if you select a table here, do a right click, there is a new table option. So here what you need to do, you need to enter the parameters. So what all fields you want, and here you can select your data type, okay, and you can select your length and all those things. So this way you can create it. So this is one of the options to create a table, and another option is you can use a SQL syntax, which I am going to show to you, and that statement is very, very generic. So don't get scared that if you see some SQL statement, because I don't want a situation wherein you get confused with the coding and all those. So there is no coding as such, but yes, you need to take something else in order to, you need something else in order to manage the entire activity. So what I am going to do is I am just copying this one. Now what I will do, I will create a table here. Okay, I am creating a table. Okay, sample this one. I am creating a stock table. Okay, and this is a sample layout. You can, since I am going to share this code with you, and copy it, and you can replicate it as and when required to create different tables. So what you need to do, just change the schema. So it is test prime, okay, and then stock A is the name of the table, and these are the fields: exchange stock, date, price open, price high, price low, price close. These are the tables, okay, fields, and these are the lengths, and these are the data types, and primary keys these. Okay. Now once you do that, now I click on execute. Okay. So it is saying here it is created. Test prime stock A is created. Now can you see that table here? No. What you need to do, select this one and refresh it. Okay. So now if I see here, this is your stock A. Now if you see this symbol, a standing line, means it is column wise. If you see a line of horizontal line, it will be a row storage. Okay. Now here when we create a table, can we create a table? Okay, so we can import the table from ECC for Mara and VBAC and all, Sarthak. We don't have to create it because those are standard tables. We can replicate it. Okay. So when we create a custom table, so what I'm doing here is I'm creating a custom table. So when we create a custom table, see this syntax name. Create column table means you are creating a table with a column storage. So what will happen is that if I select this one and go to open definition, so here you have a column store. Can you see this one? So this is your column storage. Right now it is not in editable mode. So if you just drill down this arrow, you will see row storage option is also there. And this is the your field name. This is your data type. This is your length, and this is your column storage data type. And these are your primary keys. Okay. Now, right now, if you see the details, like how much memory and how much space it is taking. So size on the disk is 4 KB. Okay. Right now we don't know the number of entries because it is 0 right now. Okay. So what I have to do is I need to load the data into this table. Okay. I want to load almost 110K data. Okay. Into this table. So now what I am going to show you is that how to load the data using the flat file, and this is the fifth option. This is talking about the fifth option of your data provisioning mechanism. Okay, so I'm taking a flat file. I'll load it using the HANA wizard. Okay, so let me close this one. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that create. Okay. Before that, just minimize it. Okay. So I have a file here. Okay. I have taken the file from some of the websites and I downloaded the test data. And test data is almost number of records are almost 110K data. So let me open it. Yeah, here. Now, if you see this data, so you have exchange, stock symbol, date, stock price. Okay, so all these things are there. I just want to know how many records are there. So if you see my screen, and in the bottom part, it is 109444. So it is 109443. Why? Because one is the first row is the header column which we don't want to select. Okay, so we just have to record 109443 records in the table, and this is a CSV file. Okay, so I'm going to load this data into HANA database in the custom table which I have created. So I click on no. Okay. So what I will do, I go here. Now I minimize all this and I go to file option. Here is a import. Okay. I click on import. Now when I go to import, you will see all these options. You need to select HANA content and data from local file. Okay. I need to select this one. I click on this. Okay. I click on this one. Sarthak, just to tell you on this one, I am trying to use the wizard. So you can see here I am not using any coding or something for uploading the data. So wherever I need to do little bit of coding, that will be either in SQL or mainly it will be in SQL. So just try to have a good understanding on the SQL if you can have. Otherwise, I will be sharing some documents on the SQL also. You can go through those basic steps related to SQL. So I select this HANA DB. Okay. I click on new. Okay. Next, what I am going to do, I am going to select a file. I do. Okay. This is my file. I select this one. Click on open. Okay. Now here file delimiter I am putting comma. Okay. Header row exists? Yes. I just do this one. So header row first will be removed, start line second. Okay. Now this is the third option to create a table. So you have a schema which is called test prime. So you can select your schema and you can create a table from here. Okay. That is also the third option. So first option you saw SQL query to create a column table. Second option you saw in the wizard of the table, we saw how you can create a different fields and you can put the values. And third option is this one. Now what I am doing is I don't have to create a table because stock A table is already created. I just have to load the data in that stock A table. So I select existing. When I select existing, I want to select my table. So what is my schema name? Schema name is your test prime. So this is your test prime. I just expand the tree. I just expand the tree. So this is my table. Okay. So I select it. This is selected. Now I go to next. Okay. So now here you have a source structure, and this is your basically table structure. Okay. Now you have to load this data here. So what you do, you click on this one. Can you see the mapping menu? So you click on mapping menu. When you click on mapping menu, you will get two options, one-to-one or map by name. I am selecting one-to-one. I just want exchange to be moved to exchange. Stock symbol data should move to a stock in the actual table, and then I have date, which should move to the date value of the target HANA database. Stock price open in the Excel sheet or flat file should move to that stock option. Price open in the HANA database. So this way I just selected and do the mapping. Okay. Now I click on.
If you want to select, one second, Rajesh. If you want to connect to different thing, right, different columns, still can I do here?
Yeah. You can do, you can do it here. You have a delete button also. So remove all maps and then drag and select it from here.
Or whatever the column I want to, I can just.
So that is a task for you. When you get a system access, you do that R&D on your own. That will help you to understand what all options I have.
Sure.
Okay. So I click on next. Okay. So now my data is here. Okay. I click on finish. Okay. So here you can see job is running. Okay. Importing a flat file. Yeah. So job is completed. So 110K data is loaded now. Okay. So you can see the speed also, how quickly it has loaded. I'm not saying that this is the only system which is having a very fast data loading. There might be another system also, but just try to compare it with your current environment. So I go to test prime now. Okay. I have a table here. Now I want to see whether my table got loaded or not, loaded with the data or not. So what I will do, I will just do a refresh. I just refresh it. Okay. Now this is having data. So I select this table, do a right click and click on open content. This is a open content. Okay. Now you can see this data. Now the problem here is it will always give you by default the top 1000 records from this schema and this table. So you want to view how many records are there. Okay. So what you can do is you select this one and click on open definition. Okay. So here you have a runtime information. Now can you see what is the value? 109443 number of entries. Okay. How much size on disk? 7428. Memory consumption, data storage, extended maximum memory consumption. So all these values you can see. And if you open the file which we saw, yeah. So if you select this record, so you can see 109444. So one record we removed because header row is there, so we removed it. So now the file is basically loading 109443 record, and which is true. Whatever source is having, same is loaded into HANA DB also. So now this loading process for HANA DB is completed. Now what we can do here is, So now you are done with your catalog activity. So what all things you have done so far? First, you created a schema. Which schema? Test prime. So how did you create? Create a schema test prime. Okay, this is the syntax. Okay, fine. Next step. So next step is that once you create a schema, you grant the privilege to the schema so that it will be a usable one, and it can be utilized during the development of the object, modeling object. So that is, you are granting the privilege. Third, you have done is that you created a table using the SQL query, but you also have the other two options using wizard and the while loading the data you saw the third option also, right? So there are three options to create it. Now fourth activity is that fourth activity we have done is we have taken a flat file which is having 110K records, and we loaded it into HANA DB, the custom table which we have created. Okay, so now so the data loading process is done. Now what is the next step? Next step is we are going to create a content object now. Okay, so I am going to content now. So in content, what is the
what is the size, file size, the flat file size? Because
yeah,
here I see it is 7.428, it is in the table level, but
yeah.
what is the actual size?
So 7428 on this.
The original file size
Oh, okay,
is
okay. 5.3 MB. 5.38 MB it was there. Just a second.
but since we are storing it as a column store, automatically the size has to be reduced, right?
Correct, correct. So wait. So it is 5.3 MB, 38 MB.
But it's approximately the same, right? Like whatever we have, is it? It's not reduced, right?
Which
It's,
one?
this
Which one you are saying?
7428 is nothing but almost like it's 5 MB, right? More than 5 MB.
Yes. So you are talking about the file size which is loaded into this one.
Right, automatically, like, I mean, we discussed, right, while loading into, I mean, after loading into HANA in memory,
Right.
automatically the size will be reduced.
Right. So the internal architecture, when so what is the representation here is the size which is showing here is the representation. But when you exactly see it internally, the architecture wise, the actual storage of the data is basically compressed. So I'll show you one example separately, maybe in the next class, how exactly we check the sizing part of that one.
Okay.
So I'll take it in a separate thread when we discuss on that one. So what I was trying to do that suppose you have a content here, right? So in content, the first thing which you are going to do is you create a package. So I create a package here. Okay. Now I give the package name. Sorry. Test underscore prime. Okay. When I put my cursor here, automatically it will get copied. Delivery unit. So suppose if you have a 3 system instances, dev, queue, and prod, you have a kind of class unit or something where you can attach all the objects, or you can move. You can attach the objects and you can move to different places. So you can move the objects to the different systems. So right now we just have a one environment, so we are not using delivery unit. This is okay, person responsible, because I am using a HANA user ID. So I click on OK. Okay. Now nothing is visible here. Oh, test prime is visible here. Okay. Now what I do, I don't have anything in this test prime. So I just click on new and then attribute view. Okay. I create an attribute view, say 80 underscore test prime 1. Okay, I put my cursor here, automatically it gets copied. This is the attribute view, and I click on finish. Okay, now your just a sec. Yeah. So here you see the data foundation and semantics. So what I will do, I'll select means add objects. What I am doing is I am selecting the table. Now this is in the content area where we are doing the development object, modeling development object. So I am going to select the. So here my stock A table is there and the schema is test prime. So I select this one. Okay. So now this is visible. Okay. Now what I do, I select this and do a right click. Add to output. I select, do a right click, add to output. I select, do a right click, add to output. Or you can put a finger on control key and select everything and move it to output. So that is the quicker way. So I just am showing you this one. Add to output, add to output, and then this one also add to output. Okay. Now once I do this one, so I have to first go to this one, exchange. So it is a key field, right? So what I need to do, I need to make it true because it is a key field. Okay. Now this stock is also a key field. I make it true, and then date is also there as a key field. I make it true. Okay, now I am done. So my this output will have all these columns. So what I do, first I click on save and validate. I click on save and validate, and you can see the job log here, model validation successful. And here attribute view is created on the left side. Okay, so here it is gray right now. It will become blue when we activate it. So now I am going to save and activate. Okay. So now this is save and activate. So this is done. So now your attribute view is complete. Now what I am going to do, I am going to click on data preview. Okay. Now when I want to see the raw data, so this is your stock, all the raw data and other things you can see. Okay. Now I want to do a kind of analysis. What I will do, I'll take stock here. Okay. And I will take a stock volume here, drag and drop. So now here you can see how exactly, if you want to do a kind of pie chart, you can have it in this one. If you want to do a kind of report this one, or you want to add more things like change. So wait. So I have a stock volume and I go to this one. I click on this one. I click on this one. Okay. So this way you can show your reporting basically. These are your stock and these are the volumes which you can show. So basically the idea is to show the in a kind of reporting tool, basically pie chart, bar chart, line graph. If you want to do a line graph, how exactly it will look like, you can see it here. So this is your line graph, how exactly it looks like. So this is the final output in which management wants to see how and they want to analyze the data in a kind of reporting format. So they want to understand how the trend is moving. So based on this analysis, they can take decisions. So when I was talking about the end-to-end reporting activity, basically this is just to let you know, I am not on the BI client tool. I am just in a testing tool of HANA Studio. So through that I'm just looking at the output layout. So I have not used the BI client reporting tool till now. I will be using it later on. So this is a small example which I just wanted to show you. So now, I mean, after seeing the entire process, are you clear what I have done? Have you understood what I have done? Hello?
Yes, Rajesh. That's quite
Okay.
straightforward and very simple. Yes.
Yeah, so it is not very difficult. The advantage with the new products in SAP or in any other technology is that they are trying to reduce the coding aspect. They are trying to make it more wizard-based activity, so that any person can configure and see the output. So here also you have seen how I loaded the data using the wizard. That is one. Second is how I loaded the data, how I created the schema and loaded the data into table and all. And then I use that schema in the modeling object, like I just wanted to create an attribute. So how exactly the data is shown and data can be represented in attribute view or analytical view or calculation view. So those things we will see it as a part of modeling, but just I wanted to show you end to end how exactly it looks like. Okay, so now this is there. What I will do now next is your boards. Okay, so let us take an example of boards and try to replicate one table from ECC to your HANA DB. Okay, so where exactly we are capturing all the database object? In catalog. In content we are capturing just the modeling object. Okay, so just wanted to let you know of that. Okay, so let me close. So let me analyze which. So I will go to this schema and what all tables are there so that I can. Okay, so here I have this one. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll go to board and we'll see how to load the data. So let me minimize this one. Now in order to go to boards, what you need to do, go to all programs. Same setting will be there in your system also, so don't worry. Go to business object data services. Okay. I click on data service designer. Oops. It is remaining. Okay. So what I do here is I type HANA user ID 1, 2, 3, and then this is okay. I click on log on. So I select this HANA, okay, as a repository. I click on OK. So it is asking me again the same password H. Okay. I click on OK. Okay, continue. Okay. Yeah. So you will get a screen like this one. Okay. Now the first thing which you need to do is okay, I'll share these documents with you also. Let me open it. Okay. I'll share these documents with you guys, so don't worry, everything will be there. So now so first let me explain what all things I'm going to do. So first thing is that you create a project And once you create a project, then you basically create a data store for ECC and create a data store for HANA. Now, what is your source? What we are trying to achieve here? We are trying to migrate one table, okay, from ECC to HANA DB and standard table. So basically, we are trying to replicate one standard table from ECC to HANA DB, and that is your goal. So in order to achieve this goal, what I have to do, I'll create a project in boards. In that project, I also need to put the data store. So when I say data store, so there will be two data store. One will be for source, which is your ECC in this case, and another data store will be for your target, which is HANA in your case. Okay. So first question comes, how do we create a data store? Okay, that is one. So once we create a data store, then you basically import the metadata there. Import the metadata means you import the table from source system and put it on the ETL tool. So ETL tool becomes your kind of temporary storage area. Okay, so there you are storing it. Once you create that, then you create a jobs and all. So let me go step by step so that you can understand what I am trying to do. Okay, now good. So what I am going to do, I am going to create a project. Okay, I click here, I create a project. Now what is the name of project? Okay, ECC underscore HANA underscore test prime. Okay, this is your project. I click on create. So this project is created now. Okay. Now what I do is I do a right click here. Okay. Select the project, do a right click and click on batch job. I am trying to run a batch job, not the. So I was talking about the boards. Boards has both the options, batch job as well as real time. So I am creating on the batch job. I am taking the data from there. So I click on batch job. So I give the name to this job, job underscore.
Rajesh, Karthik here. Is this bots part of SAP HANA or it's a different?
No, it's a different ETL tool. It's a different product, but it is integrated with HANA. I mean, for right now it has been integrated with HANA, but when you go for a project, it will be a separate product. HANA will be a separate product, and integration has to be done between these two. Okay. Now I want to replicate a table. What I can do, I am trying to replicate a table, MAKT. Okay. This is for material description. Okay. I am trying to replicate that. So what I am going to do, I just click on execute this job. Click on execute this job. Click on execute the job. So job is completed successfully. Good. So what I am going to do now is I double click here. Okay. Now here you see the right frame. Okay. Now what I am going to do, I select this and I put a cursor here. It will automatically come like this. So under workflow, I am giving workflow underscore, workflow underscore ECC underscore HANA underscore MAKT. Okay, so this is your work. Now I select this and double click on this. Okay, now I go to data flow. I press this one and I drag this one. I type the name df underscore ECC underscore HANA underscore MAKT. Now we forget to perform one step. we need to import the data. And before importing the data, we need to create a data store. So the first step which we didn't do was a data store. So click on this one. Now here, what we want to do is we have to create a data store for ECC and data store for HANA. Now, if you see this one, data store is already created. But just for your sake, what I will do, I'll click on. I will click on new data store. Okay. I create a new data store. Okay. So now here you can see the new data store. So what is the name I want to give? I want to give the name as DS. I am creating it first for ECC. So I am creating a DS underscore ECC underscore test prime. Okay. Now this is your database. I am trying to create SAP application. So this is your SAP application. I will do. I'll go to this one. GUI login. Okay. And this is the ECC ESP6. Okay. So I click on edit. So this is the application server name. Okay. So what I will do here is an instance number is this one. Okay. I give the name as ESP6. Okay. And user is HANA and password. Okay. Now I instance number, system number. System number was what 10, I think, in this case. So if you go to this one, here 10. So I am going to use the 10 system number here. So I am just changing it to 10. Okay. And now click apply. Click OK. Okay. Now this is created. Okay. Now again I am going to create another data store for HANA. I am going to say DS underscore HANA underscore test database SAP HANA. Okay. Now here database server name is your yes. Okay. This is your port, username HANA, password. Yes. Okay. I will do database, and then you have to click on this one. This one is okay. Okay. Click on apply. Oh, sorry. Database version cannot be. So here you have to select HANA 1.0x. Okay. And then click on apply. Click on OK. So now you have created expand this. Okay. Now here tables. Can you hierarchies? So what I am going to do, I just try to import by name. What is the name of table? MAKT. Okay. Import. You are seeing one thing that I am not doing any kind of coding. I am just configuring through Wizard. So I am just trying to make all of you comfortable that whatever I promised earlier, that it is more of a Wizard based activity, I am sticking to that point. Yes, except to the fact that some of the SQL query I used, which is not a difficult task. Okay. Oh, some meeting. I think you lost the connection, right?
Right, Rajesh.
Just a sec. Why experiencing difficulty? Can you see my screen or no?
No, I cannot see your screen, Rajesh.
No, Rajesh, we're not able to see.
Okay, just a sec. Naresh, you are there. Can you make me presenter? Naresh, can you make me presenter? Become the presenter to start. Okay. Become the presenter. Can you see my screen now or no?
No, not yet.
No.
Naresh, can you make me presenter? You are there? Hello, Naresh. Can you make me presenter? Naresh, can you make me presenter? No? Do you know what is the way to make? Okay, look. So can you see my screen now?
No,
Yeah, yes, yes,
Okay.
going up.
I don't know why it got disconnected. Oh, anyway. So now here, if you can see, this table is imported. Okay. Now what we will do, we will go to our previous setup which we did. So here. Okay, this one. Now here, what I am going to do, I am just first taking this to this one. Okay. Now what I will do here is I will make this template table as a. Now here table name I am going to give MAKT. Okay. Data store HANA test prime. Okay. HANA, this one HANA is the owner. Okay. Click on OK. And now connect to this one. So this is connected. Okay. So now what I will do is I will execute the job and I'll execute the job and let's see how it goes. This is entity, this one. Yes. Click on yes. So click on yes. So now job is getting executed. Hopefully there should not be any system problem. Okay. Okay, completed successfully. Fine. So what I will do first check I am going to do, I am going to HANA Studio. Now I refresh. I go. Yeah, I refresh this one. So here I have MAKT. Can you see the table name now? So if I go to this one, the first thing I need to do, I need to understand what is the row count. Okay, so it is number of entries 168779, 168k, almost 168k is there. Now how to verify the data? I go to this one, ECC, I click on this. Okay, and then I click on so here I go to C11, I type the table MAKT, I type F7, function F7. These are the fields and all, and this is a material description. I go here and I check the number of entries. So here you can see 168779. Can you see the entries? Okay. If I see the number of entries, it is 168779. So all the entries are moved. Now if you want to see the top 1000 records and all, just open content and you can see the material number, test material and all those you can see here. So this one is, you can see some Chinese script is also written and all. So this way you can replicate the table. This is one of the way using bots. Okay. So what is your feeling now? I mean, is it very difficult? Is it how? What I feel is you just need to follow certain steps, and once you follow, like you first create a data store. Since I have already created a data store, so you don't need to create it again and again. So for you, I just wanted to show you how to create a data store. So for ECC, I created a data store. For HANA, I created a data store. Then what I did, I created a project. Right. In project, I basically created a job, executed it. Once I executed it, I took up workflow. In workflow, I took a data flow. And in data flow, I basically, and before putting it in the data flow, I imported the table which I want to replicate. I put that data flow, I put it inside the data flow. I drag the table to the editor and then make a connectivity with the HANA target data template. So since the data store was there, so whatever was there from the source, it got replicated to the HANA data. And then I checked it in HANA under which schema? Under HANA schema. Why? Because my username is HANA. Okay, owner is HANA. So that's why I was checking under HANA schema. And same entries I check it in ECC. So I check that both the entries are same. So it means that my data entry is loaded successfully. And also through the job log, you can see data load was done successfully. So is it too difficult or what?
This is Karthik, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite straightforward. I
Yeah.
don't know. See, I'm in this BI space for this 10 years, so I can see that it's quite straightforward thing. And I assume it's for same for Siva because he's in the ETL. He's working in Informatica, and I can presumably say that quite straightforward. But if you ask me, I mean, this is fine. I mean, when we understand, basically, we have to start with a one table and then how it goes, try to understand.
Right.
What's my expectations is kind of taking a business scenario, like, for example, understanding a profitability analysis or doing a customer profitability analysis or something like that. Basically,
that will come after you do the basic steps on the modeling and all. That will come automatically. So you will have COPA modeling activity, and then you will have a modeling specific to finance and all. So there you will have to basically replicate all these tables and create a modeling views. So those things will come, but I just want to go one by one. So
Yeah,
whatever,
that's good.
whatever is planned, so that everyone can understand what exactly I'm doing. So Sarthak, just wanted to understand your feedback also. How is your comfort level? I mean, you have seen the process, so how is your comfort level?
Thanks, Rajesh. I think initial one I could understand better, but
Yeah.
this should we have this access to this BODS also?
Yes, yes. When you will get, I mean, hopefully by tomorrow it should be resolved. That is what I feel, and you will have board access also. So even if you face any difficulty in getting connectivity and all, in the next class I'll help you out to understand how the connections are and what all connections we have.
I would also like to have one small discussion with you, maybe
Yeah.
offline. I
Yeah.
wanted to understand, apart from this course, what are the basic prerequisites or maybe some preparation I should do, like maybe PO or something like that, so that when I'm closing that course, I'm well competent to get a job. So maybe
Yeah.
can we have a discussion?
So yeah, we can have discussion on that one. But as I mentioned to you earlier, Sarthak, the content of the training itself is going to make you very, very comfortable. So when I say content of the training means course content. So I cover almost each and every topic, and normally you don't find people covering like uh, overview on the HANA cloud, overview on RDS, predictive analytics, then BW migration on HANA, and then ABAP on HANA, then R integration with HANA, Hadoop integration with HANA. So all those topics are there. At least you should have conceptual idea, but what is more important in terms of the day-to-day activities, how you do a data provisioning, how you do a data modeling, and how you show it to the reporting tool. These three steps are very, very, the more you practice, the more comfortable you will be. So it is altogether a practice process. But rest of the things like in terms of concept and all, whatever details required, I'll definitely, going to share it with you. And also you will be comfortable after discussing on those topics.
Great. Thanks, Rajesh.
Okay. So
Yeah,
what I will be doing is that when I'm sharing the PPT and all, I think yesterday last class PPT was shared or not shared. I need to check, but I'll put it in the email. But when I'm going to share the email, I'm going to share the document. I'll also share the SQL code which I have written, so that you can see the syntax and you can put a kind of that template in your mind. So whenever you start creating and playing around with the system, you should be able to just replicate the same code and do the rest of the activity. Okay. So quickly and on
just
the board,
Rajesh,
yeah.
I'm gonna also ask with Naresh because without the system access, I'm really can't able to do anything. Just
Okay. So
and what I'm saying is for the last 3 weeks we are just talking, and
no. So
it
for
will,
system access, for system access, let me tell you. So this is your system access. So let me, I mean, if I log on to that one, then it will disconnect actually. So
okay.
I just
So give me an overview. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah.
let me disconnect that system and see how I can connect. Okay.
So how should we connect from our side?
Same, the way in which you just need to do a remote desktop, put the IP address and port, and then user ID and password. That's all.
So, for example, I'm just trying to pull up the. So what's
For every user,
what is
it will
the
be
IP address you have given? What is the IP address you have given, Rajesh?
This is the IP address 122.175.37.44, then colon 4 times 3.
Then call. I never seen an IP address like this.
Yeah, no, that is actually a complete IP address because you need to qualify it with the whole port also. So otherwise, so 3333 is a port actually.
What is the username?
Username is HANA user. I'm logged on to this one right now. So if you log on, so I think it will disconnect me. So just let me check.
Okay.
Okay, just let me check. So what I was trying to show you that, okay, this is, let me log on to this.
No, we don't have Lumira in this.
So here, if you see this one, okay, so
It says property is not available in the bottom.
no, that is okay. That is okay. Right, so system. Wait. So it is, this is it. Okay. So what we can do here is, so some of these are deactivated. That is what I am telling that guy to activate all those things. So wait. This is my database. Select the system. So I was facing the difficulty in getting all these activations. So that's why I was not sharing it with you. Otherwise, I could have shared it with you. But
I think
I'm
like you are
just
not
trying-
able to connect to the instance itself.
no, actually, instance was there. He's changing or something. I need to check. Actually, I'll call him after this training session and I'll check with him what is the issue he's doing. Property. Something was there. He deleted something, I guess. Okay, no problem.
Can I get any other system, because I have a time today, because I got to work at hour today.
Okay,
I need a
I'll talk
system.
to Naresh and I'll get the other system access also, because he shared 3-4 systems and one or two system was working very fine. If you see this, because here you can see, right, these are some of the systems which I already tested. But now that was a trial version given for a just for the checking purpose. So I'll talk to Naresh and I'll get it done. Maybe by today or tomorrow it will be done. So regarding the system access, it will not be a problem. But the guy who has provided the system access, normally these things are activated, right? So you have seen my system access also, right? The worst come worst is that whatever system I am using, I can give you that system access, so it is very comfortable. You can practice it there also. But I just
Yeah,
want to
the
have a
reason I'm
dedicated
asking you
system.
is I have time today for the next 5-8
Yeah.
hours time, so I thought I would
Well, let
start
me talk
on.
to Naresh. Yeah, let me talk to Naresh. I think he will resolve that one. That should not be any problem. So, because he, in fact, in last 5-7 days, he already shared 4-5 system details, and I was checking every system. 1 or 2 things were missing, so he was trying to resolve it. So let me talk to him. Or otherwise, if you want to practice, I can give you my access also. Whatever
For
system.
today, if you could give for today, that would be great.
Fine, no
Probably.
problem. I'll give you that one. Don't worry. I'll send an email to you guys. You can practice it on.
Okay.
Okay. And you will have a system access, dedicated system access will be there. So don't worry for that because
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, what I want to do is I just want to go through things like, what are the options there whenever I have time.
yeah, sure, no
It's a
problem.
Saturday for me today here. Just today I have time. Tomorrow I have another commitments. So our
Okay.
next class is tomorrow same time, yeah?
Yeah, tomorrow same time. So we'll discuss on that one. On the next, I think will be on the modeling or something. So I'll share these documents and all those things, and then we'll go from there. How is it? So I'll show you maybe next demo. I'll also show you on SLT. But SLT is currently having one problem related to DB connection. Means DB connection, when I say HANA Studio 2, SLT is having some DB connection because I think they didn't do the setup and all. But RFC I already created it. So SLT to ECC is already working. So when I'm trying to fire the command from HANA Studio, that request is not going. So just wanted to inform you on that. But I'll show you how to configure the SLT server. Because normally SLT server access, they don't give it to anyone. Because many people mess it up and ultimately they get a very different situation. So based on my request, they provided me the access in the current environment. So I am able to see, but DB connection is an issue. So maybe I will try to resolve it. Okay.
Okay. So if you're giving me the access, then how do I know what's the instance number to connect to the SAP,
Okay.
and then what's the user, what is the password?
Yeah, I'm telling you, just a sec. You are talking about the new instance or the instance which I used for the
Whatever you are using, is that, I mean, anyways, for example, in the BODS, when you connected, you have to go through the username, you have to give username, password, right? So how do I know which?
Yeah, I will tell you. Everything is there actually. So here if you go, now here if you go, you have a login user details here. Can you see the file?
Yes.
So all the user ID password, everything is given. Now in order to open HANA Studio, you don't have to open it with a user ID. By default, it is opening it. So when you open it, it will be visible to you immediately. You don't have to enter the user ID.
Okay, so the machine which you are accessing, what is the IP address? What is the username and password? How do I get it?
I'll send you the details in the email. Just let me talk to that guy also, and why he is not resolving. Let me send that to him, and then after that I'll send it to you.
Okay, please.
So you will get it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Anyways, for the next few hours I'm there, so that's fine.
Yeah. So once you go there, then you can see here all the details are there. So I have created many things here. You can always look into that one.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's okay. So just send me the IP address, the username and password.
Yeah.
To log into this machine, okay?
Yeah. And boards, you know how to access boards. So you go to here, and you will see Data Designer Service on the front page.
Yeah,
If not, then you can go to Business Object Data Service here, click here, and then click on this one, and then put the user ID and password.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So I'll share it with all of you. Just give me a few minutes to talk to that guy and see how he can resolve our issues. So I'll talk to Naresh also on that.
Okay, so I'll meet you. Okay.
Okay. So what was your feedback on today's session? Did you find it useful?
Yes, it is. It is useful. Yes.
Because now I want to start the demo portion. So I just slowly and gradually I will go to this one. So I don't want to bombard you guys with too many demos and ultimately you get lost. Oh, where I clicked, what I did. So I want to go at a good pace, not at a very slow, not at a very fast. Okay. Yeah. So I'll send it to you and I'll communicate through mail. So tomorrow maybe again we will get together and we will see.
Okay, thanks, Rajesh.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Rajesh,
Yeah.
you're gonna send it, right?
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
send it.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
No, 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 no.